But Cindy's a Reiki master. Like the electron is the energy cycle of it's the energy within the body. So that makes sense. That's kind of I almost see that as like the spiritual highway between that kind of dances between the Prakriti and the Purusha, or the Shiva and the Shakti, that kind of intertwines the matter with spirit, where these little Sophia codes exist. Does that make sense? I'm not a scientist.
Yeah, and then they often refer to us as the chalice, that we are the chalice, that we are the Holy Grail, and that what we're trying to do is just to restore the chalice back to that original essence of understanding and knowing, and that resonates with me so much. I mean, the chalice is one of it's a personal symbol of mine because it's shown up a lot over and over again. And I have a chalice with the roses on it, and through the priestess program that I do, I mean, that's what we call it. It's like the order of the chalice, because of the understanding that our body is actually supreme. And that also goes behind like the tantric principles are also female principles, that we go through the body to know ourselves, and that our body is not like sinful, or our body is not gross, or our body is not something that that we need to transcend necessarily, but our body is something that we go through to know enlightenment. So our body is the Holy Grail. It is the chalice. And that's what our human, part of our human experience is, it's about trying to understand ourselves as the Grail itself.
We're also the Ark of the Covenant. That's in that you are the Ark of the Covenant as well.
Yeah. Isn't it what that we're all supposed to do is become ascended masters?
Well, they say that in the Sophia Code, that you're on the path of becoming your own ascended master, and some of us have been ascended masters before.
Yeah.
Well, once, I think I've shared with you this before too, Brice. When I was in the shower one day, I received like this, just how you receive downloads or messages or information, like the 5 highest teachings of the sacred feminine, right? And it was after reading the Sophia Code and all that, and one of them is that they don't require, like the ascended masters or the deities or anything, they don't require your worship. They don't even want your worship. What they would prefer is for you to simply be the embodiment, be the example. If you are being Hathor, being Isis, or being Kuan Yin, and true, like, how would you actually show up, and how would you do things differently in your life? Yeah, and that is a female principle as well, is embodiment. Like, embodiment is all about then taking everything that you've learned. And so how are your relationships? How are you treating your body? What are you putting into your body? Like, how is your relationship with abundance versus scarcity? Live the Sophia Code as if you are already all of these beings and deities wrapped into one. Surprise! Like, I knew like Isis and Hathor and Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary. I knew that they were going to be favorites because I felt like they've been with me for a long time. Kuan Yin, like Green Tara, I really connected with her, of course, because of all the earth work, and Kuan Yin surprised me too. And then who else? The one that was most surprising, was not surprising but newer to me, was a white buffalo woman, and I really got a lot from her. And I don't know if you can see behind me right here. I don't know if I can't grab it, but there's a yellow. See that yellow thing?
Yeah,
that's my peace pipe, and I actually got to that peace pipe after learning about white buffalo woman and what the peace pipe represents, because you got in white buffalo, and she says, well, you are the pipe, you are the chanumpa, is what she calls the peace pipe. You are the chanumpa. And so you are the prayer, but you are also the answer to your prayer. And and how the stick, or whatever you call it, of the pipe is the male, and then the bowl is the female. Well, hold on a second, because I can't sit here and talk about it without actually getting it out. Hold on a minute. Let me.
Well, I was going to say, that's a lot. That's a lot like the story of the Ankh too, Or the Ankh is both
Uh-huh.
the female and the male. Yeah, I've got the Ankh right here. It's the female and the male. It's also the Chalice too.
And so the reason I had gotten this one, this is like a uniquely made, I got it at alltribes.com. So it's not like, a pipe that you could get at Amazon or anything. It's like a one of a kind. And this bowl is the reason I got it. And I like this bowl is because it's made out of alabaster. It's a bear. And alabaster is what Mary Magdalene always carried around, right? But the bowl traditionally is made out of like red, this kind of red dirt or red, I don't think it's red clay, but it's something like that is what the bowl of if you read through White Buffalo Woman, and it also symbolizes earth, like Mother Earth. This is like the female principle, and it comes together with, the pipe like this. And then this represents who you are. Like we were just talking about, you are the feminine, and you are the masculine, and you are the smoke, and you are the prayer that you put into the peace pipe, and you are the answer to your prayer. And I just thought that was very, I don't know, it just really touched me deeply because she was a newer deity for me.
Yeah.
And I liked her a lot. So anyways, I got this peace pipe just because of White Buffalo Woman.
And
I'm so glad you brought that out. I'm so glad you went and got that off your shelf.
Well,
I'll bring it out too. I bring this out in whenever we do like certain ceremonies. We do like the 8 high seasons at the yoga studio, and when we do like the ascension course and all that, and we talk about White Buffalo Woman, we actually I got a special blend of stuff because I'm not a big smoker at all either. And and then the tradition behind the peace pipe too is that when the peace pipe is lit, you only have sacred conversation. Once you light the peace pipe, because that's what they did in their traditions, is the peace pipe is only sacred, peaceful conversations were allowed. You were not allowed to talk about war. You weren't allowed to talk about anything like that when the peace pipe would come out. But as far as like the courses go with intuitive development and the ascension and all that, I'm kind of reworking it, and I'll probably start it up like late summer, fall, probably, because I'm trying to usually when we start with the initiation, we start with the 4 elements, and then trying to bring in some other aspects for it to feel more like the completion of the mystery school, like because we have a mystery school aspect to the yoga studio, and to go through it like from initiation with the elements, and then through like another thing I want to incorporate, for instance, like the Moon Key rites. Brice, I know you received like your first 3. Right?
I was going to say we need to do more of those, and I actually wanted to bring you on to do a whole special on the Moon Key. I laugh so. I know Cindy and I probably have spent past lives before, because there's only one person in this world who has ever spit on me, and I was totally fine with that. Part of the cleansing was spitting with the Florida water, and I was like, give it to me, baby, just give it to me. So I actually wanted to bring you on to talk about the Moon Key rites and what that is, and all these beautiful, because you guys, even though Cindy's from Georgia, she's Peruvian, and so there's all these different elements to these, and I believe cultures are meant to be shared. I think that all of our collective ancestors, whether they're Latin American, South American, Native American, white, European, African, I believe all of our collective ancestors wanted to share these lineages with each other, because that's what I personally believe the 12 tribes of Israel really are. And that's these galactic lineages that have ended up on this earth. They come across as different races or cultures, but all they really are a different heritage. I know the Native Americans had a story that they would tell their young, that every person of every lineage had something to offer, and the trick was learning how to work together. Book, right? I've yet to meet a person who read this book and was like, meh. I've yet to meet that person.
I've met people who's like, I picked it up and I don't get it, I don't understand it. Like, it's like, and I've gotten that a few times, but then it's just like one of those things that we talked about at the beginning. Well, it'll meet you with where you are.
Yeah.
When you're ready to understand it, like really, it's gonna
It's going to appear.
It's just going to work for you. But if you're not quite, ready to understand it, then it's going to look like, it always reminds me of, like when you watch some of the magical movies on Hollywood or anything like that. And, they have the magical books, but they're like, only certain people can see it. Like if someone who isn't ready to see it, it's like all blank pages. You don't get the information. But the person who's there's a truth to that.
Yeah.
Because
totally.
like with any of the sacred texts is the exact same way. I mean, you'll open it, it might not be invisible, but it might as well be, because when you look at it, you won't understand the words, or the words won't make any sense to you.
And that's
but then when you're ready, the words will totally pop and they'll make sense to you. And that's how that's how I always feel like that's when there's something to that text, or if it's really like a truly magical book. It's the same. The Bhagavad Gita is the exact same way. Like the first time I read it, I was like, what the? I didn't understand anything.
You're like, why do I care about this dude going to war? Like,
I know. And it wasn't until reading it several times through that it finally started to reveal itself to me, because it meets you with where you are. And I think there's a lot of books that do that.
Now I got to add another book to my shelf.
Well, it's the same with the Yoga Sutras. I'll tell you, the Bhagavad Gita, for those who are really, because I love the Bhagavad Gita, this is probably one of the best commentaries. I love Ram Dass. And you can see my book is old, and it's like, we got underline things, but and it's the same with the Yoga Sutras. The more I practice yoga, my first time reading the Yoga Sutras 17 years ago versus today is completely changed my perception of what Patanjali is saying. But there is nobody on this world that is more special than anybody else. You are truly loved by the divine because you're part of the divine, and that is the one thing people take from the Sophia Code, that you can do this. There is help if you need help understanding. Cindy's an incredible healer. You do healing sessions on Zoom too, correct, Cindy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I mean, I do the healing sessions, and then I do like for someone who wants like a deeper, like a 90-day mentorship healing, all sorts of things into one in a 90-day program as well, where if you just basically what I feel is, someone who, like, as a healer, is all we're really doing is saving you time.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, do you want to
wonder
go ahead and start to do it now, or do you want to wait, or do you want to wait another lifetime? I don't know. I mean, it's up to you, but we're just we're just catalysts for time.
That's a Harmony. My friend Harmony in Canada used to say, if you practice with yoga, you're just speeding your karma up. That's all you're doing. You're speeding it up.
Speeding the process up for you. Helping you get into the place where you can do the work, and providing a space for you, like a container that's specifically aligned for you to do your work.
Absolutely. And so I want everybody to be clear. There is a huge difference between a cult leader and a healer and a teacher. A healer, we talked about this yesterday at the Shala. A healer and a teacher is going to help you, give you the template, coach you, help you see your blind spots, but they're totally going to be hands off when it comes to you doing your own work and you integrating that into yourself. A cult leader, not so much. So I've had incredible teachers, and and it is true. Like, you can wander around and find all this information out for yourself, but if you have somebody that's walked down the road first and can help guide you and give you their experiences, even better. But if you want to join us on Sundays too, my class is at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. That's the New York City time. So if you're coming from elsewhere in the world, you're more than welcome to join me on Sundays, or all of Cindy's classes are on Zoom as well. So you can check out the Sacred Garden website and pop into any of the classes. Just make sure that you are aligned with the proper time. Again, we are Eastern time. That's the same as New York City. So wherever you live in the world, we got some people in Texas that join us. They're always like 2 hours behind us. So they're up early on a Sunday to take those classes. So, so just make sure you check with your local time and make sure. So, all right, you ladies, anything else you want to say before we sign out?
I love being a student. So thank y'all very much for meeting with me today.
Of course, the Georgia girl.
Including me. So, thanks.
Of course. Yeah. All right, you guys, we'll talk to you all later. Bye, everybody.